Buenas and half a day, everyone. This public hearing by the Committee on Maritime and Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens is hereby called to order. Today is Tuesday, February 13th, and the time now is 1:01 p.m. For the record, and in accordance with open government law, notices of this hearing were sent on February 6th and again on February 9th. In addition, this hearing was noticed on the Guam Legislature website and the Guam Public Notice website. Joining me here this afternoon, welcome to my Vice Chair, Senator Jesse Lujan, and Committee Member Senator Joe St. Augustine. Sujus Masi colleagues for being here. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the nature of the agenda. The current agenda item is the appointment of Faye R. Valencia-Ovalles to serve as a member of the Port Authority of Guam Board of Directors. The Chair will invite individuals who have signed up to testify before speaking. Individuals testifying shall be recognized by the Chair and shall state their name for record purposes. The mission of the Port Authority of Guam is to provide full services to ocean vessels in support of loading and unloading cargo for Guam and Micronesia. The Port Authority of Guam is the main lifeline of the consumer goods on the island, and as such recognizes its responsibility to deliver these goods promptly and efficiently. In support of this mission, the Port Authority also provides land and infrastructure to private interests to further develop the maritime industry in Guam. As a public corporation, the Port Authority dedicates all of its profits to upgrading equipment and facilities and the continued growth of the island's seaport. The Board of Directors is responsible for the planning, promotion, development, construction, operation, and maintenance of port facilities. The Port Authority plays a vital role in the lives of all citizens living on Guam and the territory. Because of our location, we are almost entirely dependent on our sea link to the United States and to our foreign contacts. The Port's vision is to transform its facility into a world-class terminal for Guam and the Western Pacific region. We'll now hear testimony for the appointment of Ms. Faye R. Valencia-Ovalles to serve as a member of the Port Authority of Guam. Those who are here today in support of this appointment, we have Frankie Lake, Adonis Lake, Conchita S.N. Titano, and Port Manager, General Manager Rory Respicio. We'll start with Board Member Titano, your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, honorable members of the committee, today I come before you to express my full support for the nomination of Faye R. Valencia-Ovalles to serve on the Board of Directors for the Jose D. Leon Guerrero Commercial Port. While I have not had the direct pleasure of working with Ms. Valencia-Ovalles, her distinguished career in public service and the private sector precede her, establishing her as a dedicated public servant and a community leader. Even without direct interaction, it is clear that her extensive background and willingness to contribute her ideas will be invaluable to the Port Authority of Guam. Ms. Valencia-Ovalles' impressive private industry career and significant governmental administration roles highlight her adeptness and understanding of the public and private sectors. This breadth of experience and unique perspective will benefit the Port Authority of Guam's plan for modernization. Faye's commitment and dedication to public service, leveraging her knowledge, sharing experiences, and focusing on collective success promotes the vision required for the port's advancement. With her track record, Faye's participation as a member offers a tangible perspective on the work of the Port Authority of Guam Board of Directors. I also have to highlight, Madam Chair and honorable members, of an urgent matter that underscores the necessity of confirming Ms. Valencia-Ovalles' nomination. Since September 2023, the Board of Directors for the Port Authority of Guam has been unable to legally convene meetings or make binding decisions due to lack of quorum. This situation hampers our ability to address port matters, which may impede commerce, affecting timely decision-making on port operations, and hindering strategic initiatives to enhance efficiency and growth. Madam Chair and members of the committee, help us get back to work, please. Thank you for considering my testimony, and I earnestly request your support in confirming Fayar Valencia-Ovalles' nomination. Her leadership and vision are assets, not just for the Port Authority, but also for our entire community. Dankluna Sizus Masi.
Sizus Masi, Ms. Taitino. General Manager Respicio, Senator.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of your committee. Hafide and Sizus Masi for allowing me to submit written testimony in support of Ms. Faye Valencia-Ovalles' nomination to the Board of Directors for the Jose de Leon Guerrero Commercial Port. Together with Deputy General Manager Dominic Muña and Pacifico Martir, we are united in endorsing this appointment. We extend our gratitude to Governor Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Tenorio for their insightful selection, and to Ms. Ovalles for her unwavering dedication to public service. Over the last 5 years, the port has aptly turned significant challenges into opportunities, thanks to a dynamic board, robust leadership from Adelup, and a resilient operational strategic framework. Our 2024 Look-Ahead Plan is a testament to this, strategically aligning with the administration's vision and proactively addressing the implications of the military buildup and the port's role in securing national security objectives. Despite the setbacks from Typhoon Mawar, the port swiftly returned to full operation after 3 days, sustaining uninterrupted commerce. Looking ahead, we are poised for substantial investments or financing in order to address the port's aging infrastructure, such as the ship-to-shore gantry cranes, fill piers, rehabilitation or replacement, and wharf reinforcement to address the end-of-life stage for these critical infrastructure and to accommodate the anticipated growth in cargo volumes resulting from the military buildup and organic growth projections. Ms. Ovalles' vast experience in finance and management is a cornerstone for our policy direction, modernization, and look-ahead efforts, crucial as we engage with stakeholders and federal grantors. Her diverse roles as CEO, her achievements in educational pursuits, and her involvement in government, and just as complex as the port, healthcare, which is oftentimes provide her with a rich perspective on executive management and public service. Her approach is particularly vital as we navigate through the military expansion, enhancing workforce development, and managing increasing cargo volumes, all in the context of needing to address aging critical port infrastructure. Her strategic acumen is pivotal to our infrastructure enhancement and operational preparedness. Please ensure that Ms. Ovalles' nomination does not succumb to the same outcome as a nominee who narrowly missed confirmation by single senatorial vote, nor the fate of the 2 other nominees awaiting action in your committee. Madam Chair, I urge you to prevent these critical appointments from failing or being neglected. The consequences of inaction are immediate and significant. As you are well aware, our present situation with the Port Board of Directors is critical, with no board meetings held since September of last year. The absence of a quorum results in the inability for the Port's board to meet monthly is not only a statutory violation, it is not the most prudent way to operate a critical infrastructure agency, and we are prepared to let sleeping dogs lie and extend our hand asking the legislature to give the port the same kind of confidence that we have earned from other national and local partners, and the credibility reflected by independent audits, bond ratings, and financial balance sheets. Without a quorum, the Board of Directors for the Port Authority of Guam cannot legally convene meetings or make binding decisions. This hampers our ability to address urgent port matters, delay strategic initiatives, and potentially disrupts port operations and commerce, just as our director noted in her testimony, and this affects local and regional economies. We confidently advocate for your favorable vote for Ms. Avales, solidifying her role in strengthening our Port Strong family. Si Diyos Masi, I submit this as my written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Manager Respicio. Senator, thank you for your testimony. And now we will hear from Mrs. Avales.
Hafaday, buenas tardes, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Valencia-Ovalles, and I'm honored and privileged to appear before you for this confirmation hearing in my capacity as a public servant, seeking to serve as a member of the Board of Directors for the Jose D. Leon Guerrero Commercial Port. I want to thank Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio for their confidence in appointing me to the board of the island's commercial seaport facility. I am grateful for the support of my friends and family and for the testimonies of support. I am truly humbled to be nominated by this administration to serve as a member of the Port's Board of Directors, and I hope that the legislature will confirm my nomination, allowing me to serve on this important autonomous agency. To give you a brief professional background, I have served as the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Guam Marianas Management Services with several DBAs, the Guam Marianas Collection Agency, a third-party collection agency, a proud member of the ICA and ACA, and also the Guam Marianas Training Center, a School of Business, Technology, and Allied Health, and the Global Manpower Services since 1995. As a public servant, I've had the honor of serving special assistant under the administration of former Governor Felix Camacho and Joseph Ada. I also held positions such as Chief Passport Officer, Deputy Director for the Department of Labor, and various management positions with banking institutions and insurance companies. Additionally, I have been an active participant in several community and civic organizations. This year marks the 49th anniversary of the Port Authority of Guam, an autonomous agency with a total of 384 employees committed to ensuring the uninterrupted flow of commerce to the facilities. Located on Cabras Island, connected to the main island by the road or seawall, the employees of the port, petroleum, shipping, trucking, and recreational companies form a close-knit community that understands its vital role as a lifeline on Guam. We have witnessed the port transformation over the past 49 years from the infancy as an autonomous agency struggling financially to become a very profitable agency as it is now. Under the leadership of the General Manager Rory Respicio, former Senator Rory, along with the Deputy General Managers Dominic Munia and Pacifico Martir, and with the support of the soon-to-be fellow board member and the support of Governor Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Tenorio, the port has achieved phenomenal success over the past 5 years. These accomplishments are made possible by the hard work, perseverance, and port-strong spirit of the management, employees, and industry partners. I am so excited and can already feel that to be part of this organization and a member of the Port Strong family will be a very humbling experience. A review of the port audit and media stories reveals the amazing accomplishment achieved since 2019. In 2018, 103,000 negative on the income and bounced back to a nearly 7.5 million for fiscal year 2019. Despite the pandemic, the port reported an income of 4.1 million for fiscal year 2020 and 2.3 million for fiscal year 2021 and more millions for fiscal year 2022. The port continues to focus on financial discipline, realistic spending, and identifying new opportunities for an aggressive yard equipment acquisition and replacement program. For the fourth consecutive year, the port achieved the designation as a low-risk auditee during the annual financial audit with clean audits and no deficiencies. The independent auditors rendered clean opinions of the port's financial statements and compliance over major federal programs with no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal control. For the third year in a row, Moody's Investor Service issued a BAA credit, really an investment grade, if you may ask me, Senators, rating for fiscal year 2022, reflecting the port's stable revenue profile, healthy liquidity, solid debt service, credit strength, and quick recovery from Typhoon Mawar. And S&P maintained this outlook for the port as stable and affirmed as A long-term rating in the Port's Outstanding Series 2018 Port Revenue Fund. The Port continues to receive local and national awards for transparency and accountability from the Association of Government Accountants, Guam chapter. After Typhoon Mawar, the Port was able to reopen in 3 days to ensure uninterrupted commerce. What a saving. What a saving grace. I am pleased to see the citizen-centric report that the Port under this administration is focused on efficiency and cost reduction in servicing vessels. This is evidenced through reduced berth hours and increased container moves per hour, demonstrating higher productivity. The collaborative relationship that management has established with only your local but also our federal stakeholders is commendable. But the most important achievement of this management is its focus on the vulnerable assets, the employees. This is accomplished through training and recognition awards, resulting in improved employee morale, vessel productivity levels, and turnaround time of vessels calling the port. I appreciate the unwavering efforts of General Manager Roy Respicio, his deputies, the board members, the port users, and especially the employees in surpassing many milestones over the past years. I am confident that the port will continue to build upon its modernization successes by developing and executing new initiatives that will support its long-term sustainability and resilience, preparing for the military requirements related to the build-up for not only Guam, but the CNMI. I pledge to work tirelessly to uphold the current high standards of excellence. Madam Chairperson and members of the committee, I extend my sincerest sujus maasi for allowing me to appear before you and humbly ask for approval of my nomination to the Jose D. Leon Guerrero Commercial Port Director, as Board of Director. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Maraming
very
salamat
much.
po. Thank you,
Sujus Masi
senators.
Maraming Salamat Po. And we'll start with questions from the panel. From my left, Senator Taitagui.
You didn't have a copy? Okay, let's make copies.
If you don't mind, Madam Chair, I'd like to, those who came before me should have the option first, if you don't mind.
They're okay. Go ahead. They don't mind.
I'd like to get a copy of the testimony in front of me, if you don't mind. I think they're giving us a copy right now, so I can ask the questions based on her comments that were being made.
We sent several copies earlier. Yes, there were a lot of copies that we sent earlier. Copies were sent earlier.
Senator Lujan, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. First of all, Ms. Avales, thank you very much for accepting the appointment, and congratulations for that. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was in legislature in 2006 when we confirmed you for the board of the Airport Authority. If I'm not mistaken, back then.
Back
right?
then,
Yeah.
Senator.
Yes.
True. It's very true.
And you have quite an extensive knowledge in transportation, be it ground transportation, air transportation, and schooling as well, because you also are a board member of the charter school.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Currently the chairwoman.
And I see you on a weekly basis as well, and I see your commitment to that. Your extensive knowledge, of course, in transportation, but not only that, but in also in schooling and importance of course, we mentioned this during the charter school meeting, that responding to the urgent needs of what the island needs has to also work in concert with our schools, be it the public-private schools, but also the upper institutions like GCC and the University of Guam. So yeah, I see again you have extensive knowledge, of course, for that, and I applaud you. There's quite a few. I mean, again, of course, people who come in for confirmation hearings are a lot of them are new to that, which is good as well, but you have the knowledge going in here. What do you foresee, again, as your role, again, as board member at the Port Authority and your goals with that? You haven't served in the Port Authority board yet, right?
My first time.
First time, okay.
Yes.
So this will complete the transportation, yeah. So, and again, in serving in the airport authority and then the transit, you got the air down and you got the land down. What are your goals and your vision for the port and the maritime?
Thank you, Senator. We are always, I think I would look at the port, and I've seen through some of the work, some of the research that I've done and some of the materials that were given to me, that they have actually kept their mission as an entity that was created by law. As a business acumen, I think, as my personal business acumen, I want to make sure that they really do what they need to do in terms of what their duties and responsibilities to our island, right? And it has shown in their audits that they have done well, have actually gained momentum in terms of really bringing up probably more businesses on our island, being the only seaport on Guam. So I look at it as a part of the business acumen that you need to really see your bottom line at all times to make sure that you cover all the overhead that you need to do, and that the port have done that so well. I'm always a stickler on the finances of any organization that I go in. And when I see anything that is going to reflect that there's a little bit of a red flag on the finances, I would always be there and say what's going on. But see, the independent audits done at the airport have spoke so well of what they have done for the many, many years. And to add more with my experience from the private sector, Senator, is almost inspiring. And see that our government agencies, such as the port, is really doing so well in its financial ability to perform and deliver the duties that it is called for by law. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Senator.
Yeah, and I got to give, again, hats off to everyone down at the Port Authority. Very crucial entity, of course. That's where everything comes in. Yes. You know, just this morning I had a meeting with some folks in regards to, again, the intensity of this military buildup. And I think, Senator Respicio, you were there at in the onset of the talk of the buildup. And I know Senator Brown, myself, Speaker Pinko, I think it's Speaker Wampat, Lieutenant Governor Moylan at the time, that went to Okinawa to look at that buildup and the situation over there. Of course, at that time, there was a different reasoning of the buildup. Now it's more of of course, national defense buildup. And this morning's meeting basically was based on that and the need of not just workers, but again, supplies that need to come into Guam, yeah. and also the contribution of not only the supplies that come in here, because I know we've had supply chain issues that we've had, and we may have that in certain supplies at this point. But what makes it even more costly is not only a supply chain issue, but because we lack workers. Contributes to the higher costs. We only have one commercial port, really, the commercial entity where goods come in here, and without the goods, a lot of the services as well can't be performed. That being said, you served at the airport. The airport has done a tremendous job, and of course, it's built up. It still has its challenges. It still has its challenges, but the runway was extended out. Now we can fly a big bird full of gas and passengers and fuel nonstop to the West Coast. The port has its challenges in its build up as well, yes. Right? It's built up. We know we need to build it out. We know to build, and I'm hoping and praying in the very near future we can get it up to par to what the airport has done. Yes. over the years, to get all the hopefully, Senator Respicio, we can get you the staff to be able to get the monies to, to get the federal funding to be able to leverage the military buildup, and the need, because, when those supplies come in here, it feeds both inside and outside the fence. Yeah, and so it's very crucial, very crucial. It's the only thing we have. If that port shuts down, I got to give you kudos. And on a daily basis over Mawar, you were texting me about what was happening, because I was texting you as well as what was going on at the port, and what equipment was down, and you were 2-3 times a day say, Rory, slow down, Finn. Texting me 2-3 times a day regarding the equipment that was down and how fast it went up. So kudos to each and every one of you over there. We definitely see the challenges at the Port Authority, and hopefully we can, with Ms. Avales being appointed now and being confirmed, you got my support. I know you're, again, we grilled you through the airport situation,
yes,
and
your leadership as well. Thank you, Senator.
I know your leadership skills as well, and you had served both in both parties, actually, in the
Yes.
Democratic administration as well as Republican. So you have served both sides of the aisle, and again, I commend you for accepting the appointment. I hope in the very near future that as well we work cohesively to get you fully boarded, Senator and Ms. Titano, because it's crucial. It's crucial. The work that needs to be done, and the work that has to be done, because it's not a want, and I'm seeing, again, you guys are doing a tremendous job with now. It's looking like we're getting more frequency in the cruise ships.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and yeah. So, but it's definitely not cruise ship standard at this point. So we need to get it there, right? We need to get it there. We need to get all our transportation entities up to par if we want to be a player. I don't mean a player, but a major tourist destination here. So again, Madam Chair, that's all I have. Again, thank you again, Ms. Avales, for again accepting the appointment. I look forward to your getting confirmation, and thank you,
Pleasure, Senator.
Senator
Thank you so
Respicio.
much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Titano,
you.
again for again coming out and supporting Ms.
Thank you, sir.
Avales. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Lujan. Senator Titlegy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to my colleagues. We all attended a thing at Jeff's Pirates Cove. Tourism is alive and well on Guam. It's coming our way, so we're very grateful for that. Well, Faye, you're no stranger to government of Guam, that's for sure.
Yes, Senator.
You've been around the block and then some, sitting on several different kinds of boards. You've been through tough times too on certain issues that arise in the newspaper about certain agencies that actually you probably were part of, but you seem to come out well, and you cross your T's and dot your I's. But I think this board that you're sitting on for the port has a lot of problems. And the person that I'd like sitting on that board is someone who's not going to be a yes woman, and definitely not turn a blind eye, most especially. In your testimony, you write about all the good things that the port has been doing, at least what's written by the port. But I don't think you put down the things that are most important, and that's how you're going to fix the problems there at the port. For instance, the OPA has an article out, I mean, not an article, but they put out a report, and if you've been researching what the port has been doing, you'll notice that if you go through the website, you'll find there were discrepancies in pay raises. You'll find that the open government law was not adhered to. FOIAs have been requested about having alcohol on the yard have still been unanswered. Late submission of the audit report that has held up our Government of Guam audit, our main Gov Guam audit. You know, there are a lot of issues that are going on. And Faye, you and I have known each other for a long time. And you know, myself as well as several other of us are continuing to keep an eye on our port, on our port. This is the gateway to our lifeline, and actually a gateway for like drugs and invasive species, all that. So there's a great importance of this port. And people ask why we are being so hardcore about it. I don't think so. I think what we're doing is ensuring the safety, welfare of our people. So Faye, I'm going to ask you point blank, and I want to hear from you because we are keeping an eye. I watch the board meetings. Will you be able to, without interference from the director of the port or anyone else, be able to make sound decisions for the best interest of the people of Guam?
I am ready to take on these responsibilities as a board member, and part of this is really to oversee what is actually going at the port. Certain things that you have mentioned earlier is probably I'm not privy to that, but I have here, of course, the general manager to probably speak on those issues. But Senator, you can rest assured.
Wait, right there. I have a general manager that is willing to school me on it. I don't need you to be a yes woman to the general manager. The board is an independent body.
Yes.
You're overseeing the work of the general manager. So you need to talk to other people besides the general manager to get a clear picture of what's happening. Feel free to talk to even employees.
Yes.
You know that, Faye, because
Yes.
that's my biggest concern. I need you to be an independent woman that's going to look at his, hers, and the truth and make a sound decision.
Rest assured, Senator. I think as I get sworn in as a board member, I think that is my not only fiduciary responsibility, but that is really my foremost duty is to oversee what is going on with the port, the good and the bad of it. And I'll be here, like the same way we're talking right now, you tell me, Faye, and I will be open and honest on what I see and what I could relate to you as what the port is doing, as it is, as the board or the good or the bad part of it. Because I'm not going to stand on somebody's side or be on somebody's side just to please them. I have my own responsibility towards our people, ourselves, and the community of Guam to make sure that I am there, not for just a person or a few people, but I be there because I am a board member to oversee that everything goes right and goes well at the Port Authority.
Thank you for that. And Faye, you have built your reputation on this island. Took a long time.
Yes.
I mean, we see it in all the places that you were board members. We see it in the work that you do for the island. Your reputation is very, very important. And I don't want to see it tarnished. Being a yes man to something that is obvious, could be some shenanigans going on. I use my word shenanigans. And so please, you know, what's more important is your reputation, okay? Don't turn a blind eye, Faye. You never have before. And if situations arrive where you being pressured to do something you don't want to do, I hope you keep your dignity and your reputation intact and just resign. That would be the best. And may I suggest to read the OPA's report and see what was going on. It's very spelled out, and then that gives you a great perspective. I mean, it's nice, there's good things that happen, that's important. But you need to be there most especially for when the bad things are coming down, when people are manipulating the island. That's where we need you to make sure you don't turn that blind eye. Keep your reputation, Faye.
Will do, Senator.
You have a good one. Let's not tarnish that.
Thank you.
I thank you for, again, wanting to serve our public, wanting to serve our community.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to just make a reminder to all those in the public hearing that personal inference about the character or motive of any senator or individual here in the public hearing room is not permitted by the general rules of this public hearing. Thank you.
Tello, don't ask any questions if it requires any question about anybody's character, because, you know, we all want to pretend everything's all good. Faye, we've known each other a long time as well. We worked together during the Avales administration over 30-plus years ago, almost 35 years ago. So,
Yes.
you know, and as Senator Tello relayed over the years, and you have been involved at a public level of engagement during more than several administrations. But certainly having been at the port myself and having known how it was run, and by the way, I appreciate your testimony, but some of the information that was provided to you, especially the idea that it's only in the last 5 years they've had clean audits. Well, they had clean audits every year I was there. Even in the last year, Mary Torres was there. And while they tell you that, oh, they left a deficit of $183,000, we put $10 million aside for the bond to demonstrate when the bond was executed that year that we were putting our money up first, that we weren't simply borrowing other people's money to invest, but we were willing to sacrifice and put out of our own revenue, which is only about $50 million, $10 million of that year. So I think you need to also double check. You're very capable of double checking the information that's provided to you, because I understand the desire to put our best face forward because it's very public. We don't want to see all the cracks and the not so good things. And some of the things that certainly have happened since my departure that I've been very public about is the incredible amount of ratepayer money that's been paid out to people that were related to adverse actions that the previous boards during my tenure and before my tenure, because it was before my time even, had with regards to the operations of the port. A lot of people have been paid very well. Some of those campaign endorsements were very well paid for, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I think you need to be mindful what you're walking into. Really, get around if you do get a chance, assuming employees are willing to talk to you, because there's some probably that don't, because they'll get targeted. It's like if you don't respond on the WhatsApp or want to get off the WhatsApp, you get called in. So I think you really need to go beyond the surface level and the projection that's being provided to you and really look what's going on there, because everybody's not happy. I'm not there every day. I've only been there once when they did the groundbreaking for H-Wharf a couple years ago. Maybe drive by, is H-Wharf in construction today, or was that just before the election? So I think you really need to look at that. I wanted to ask you a specific question, because we asked during the previous board members that kind of surprised me. You know, as a board member, your tenure, as you notice, your years of service, do not coincide with the governor's election. And I understand the praise and recognition of any governor. I mean, I've worked for 2 of them. So I can appreciate that, because it's through their efforts of being in elective office that we are given the opportunity to be appointed to the respective positions that we serve in. But the position of an autonomous agency, be it the airport, the Port Authority of Guam, is not tied to that. And yet we heard last year that the general manager, that the board had allowed the general manager to resign on the 1st of January and get rehired on the 2nd of January and cash in his annual leave. And I don't know if that was an opportunity that was afforded to everybody else. We recently had the confirmation for a member of the board of the airport board, and that question was asked. And the response was no, the general manager at the airport did not cash in his annual leave, with the idea that the response we got from the previous board nominee that was not confirmed by this body was that, oh, because it was the end of the governor's first term. Do you think the general manager should be able to cash in their annual leave and be rehired the following day? In this particular case, your general manager received about $23,000. Do you think that that's something that's acceptable? Would you have approved that? And if not, just the general manager and the management team that's already significantly highly paid. Did anyone else get that opportunity? What are your thoughts on that?
I would probably, Senator, look into the laws that govern all of this. Unfortunately, these are all unclassified positions. So I don't know the rules of engagement still yet as to how they earn leave. It's probably like any government entity that you will have to earn leave and use it for whatever, whether it's for sick or any other reason. But definitely that is something that, you know, I would not be familiar and maybe not be able to say what went around, what went during the resignation and then taking out the retirement money, which is probably normal for unclassified people to pull out their retirement and come back. So I just know that when I wasn't classified, I was able to cash out on the money.
It was not retirement. It was annual leave. You've been a government of Guam employee. You worked at the passport office.
Yeah.
Do you think you should just be able to cash in your annual leave and cash it in so you can pocket it? You think that's okay? Normally, you terminate your annual leave when you terminate employment, when you retire, when you resign.
Pull it out, yeah.
You don't necessarily come back the following day. I mean, I think it's been allowed for elected offices. I think here at the legislature it's allowed. I think for the governor's office, when they end one term and begin another term, they're allowed that. I'm not aware of the rest of the government of Guam. I'm not aware of the other autonomous agencies, unless you are, that there's any other autonomous agency manager that did that. Because that's significant. I mean, unless any other employee at the port, is any other employee, are they able to do that and come back the following day with an almost $17,000 raise?
I can see your concern, Senator, but something that I'm not privy to.
Well, it is, especially if the idea, and we've seen over, like I said, a significant millions of dollars, especially when we see board members that are advocating for the general manager's pay raise, and then they have a child hired that just within a matter of months of that time.
I hear your concern,
Do you have
Senator.
any contracts with the administration? Are you fully, as I know Senator Tello asked this question, but we want to make sure you're independent, because there is a reason, Faye, that, you know, the other 3 board members, there were 4 nominated, only 1 survived, and I think only 1 survived by 1 vote because they just happened to be related to somebody in the Guam legislature. Probably otherwise they would not have been concerned. That's a significant statement, and while it's attributed to me influencing my colleagues, I'd like to get them to vote for all my bills, but I think they have their own independent minds. There's a reason why. So I will tell you, out of all the boards and commissions you probably served in, keep your eyes and ears open, be very careful, and look at the decisions that are being made, and don't get, you know, we say don't drink the Kool-Aid. Down there, some people are gulping the Kool-Aid.
I hear you, Senator, and as I said, I am coming into the port with a fresh mind and a lot on their of what they have done through the years, whether the internal things that are happening is, as I said, I'm not currently privy, but you can question that, and I could look into that as well and see the appropriateness or inappropriateness of that action.
Well, and it's critically important that you're there on behalf of the people to ensure the port is properly managing itself. You will have people surround you, Faye, that will offer you the sun and moon. They'll be so gracious. Every need you have as a board member. You need a computer, we'll get you a computer. You want training, oh, we'll send you off island. You want a trip, we'll take care of that too. I mean, that's the privilege of power, right? If the question is, do you abuse it? And do you abuse it to the extent that you allow things to happen that should not happen? Because we're not ensuring that the port money is being properly spent on the operations, especially when we are looking within the next 2 to 3 years. If the Port Authority of Guam does not get a new crane in place and operational, we may be heading for some major issues, because the time is running out and I still don't see concrete efforts. Maybe you'll surprise me. And in 2027, we're going to have a brand new crane operating down there, because I already see the issues about the breakdown of gantry 6.
Yes.
And other days when the other gantries are down, maybe they don't get a nice little press release. But the time is coming. I mean, metal fatigues, it doesn't last forever. Those cranes, if they're not replaced soon, there's going to be a major issue of concern. All while the parties are going on. I mean, you have employees that can, have a wedding for their child back in the mainland, make sure they take their brother-in-law with them. That's the kind of nonsense that's been happening there. And talk to employees if they're willing to talk to you, because there's some that won't because they fear retribution. Some that don't care because they're very public about it now because of their frustrations, because they don't feel they're getting the support, they don't feel they're getting the training opportunities, and they feel select few are accommodated at their expense of ensuring that the port is properly operating. So I'm letting you know, you and I go back a long ways, and I'm just very direct as I always am. That hasn't changed. Maybe a little older, maybe a little less patient on my part, but I'm also direct. And having been there, I have the experience of knowing that those issues need to be need to be addressed and need to be looked at. Because, as Senator Tello mentioned, reputation is important. You have a reputation as a very upstanding businesswoman in this community, a very successful one. You've worked very hard to get to where you're at. And I know you don't want that to be affected by the actions of others. If you're going to make a mistake, then I'm sure you want it to be your mistake, not somebody else imposing that on you. So I'm telling you, you need to be very cautious, as we did with other board members. They didn't heed that warning. But power's always changing. That's a good thing. It will change again. And when it does, hopefully, things are above board and your actions are above board. And more importantly, you're ensuring that the actions of the one employee, or the two employees, I guess three, you have your two deputies, are upright. Because I'm telling you, it's a concern. And I don't bring this up just because, I'm no longer the general manager. It's no longer my burden. I don't have to worry about the operations of the port. So I'm fine with that. It does matter to me who I work for, and I'm glad who I had the opportunity to work with. But for you coming in now to oversee the port, like I said, I've seen too much drinking of the Kool-Aid and not enough accountability and not enough responsibility. I see a lot of taking off the table. And where the port is, where the equipment is, those are the kind of questions you need to look at. What's operational? Because we've invested, the people of Guam have invested, the federal government has invested an awful lot of money also in the infrastructure at the port. And is it being maintained? Is the equipment being maintained? And if they're not, the time will come that when you don't have those resources, you know what happens. I don't even need to elaborate and explain that to you. Just for clarification again, do you have any contracts with the administration?
No.
In any business capacity?
No, Senator, not at all.
Another issue that was brought up, and I know Senator Tello had asked this herself formally, but since she did, and I'm going to ask, there was a recent issue of the Port Authority of Guam celebrating Port Month and having their ceremony, their closing ceremony in the port yard. And the issue was brought up because there was alcohol that was brought on board to the port.
Government facility.
Just a few months ago in October. Yeah. I know inquiries were made with regards, I think the Coast Guard ultimately said that they did not authorize or not in a position to have authorized alcohol to be consumed. I mean, the port yard is supposed to be an alcohol and drug-free space. The regulations require that. I'm sure she can speak for herself, Mr. Respicio.
Well, the concern is
I'm not asking you the question.
There's a lot of things that you're saying that are not factual.
I am asking Ms. Ovalles
the Coast Guard responded
Senator
to Senator.
I am asking Ms. Ovalles the question.
Senator Respicio, please let Mrs. Ovalles
Thank you, Senator.
answer the question.
I am not privy to that, Senator, but that hearing all of this is something that I could really look into as a board member and see the appropriateness and inappropriateness of these things that happen at the port.
I don't mind also the celebration. By all means, there's a need for it. If it was at a hotel, if it was some other location, I don't think it would have been, but not on the port yard. Yeah. And especially for the port users to have requested. That's what was also said publicly. The port users group requested that they could bring alcohol and beer. I mean, by the caseload. With all the issues we have of drug abuse on Guam, which is significantly prevalent, I don't know anybody who doesn't know anyone, either friend, family, who's been affected by this. And even though the port keeps saying it's not coming through the port, I could never make that statement when I was general manager for 6 years, because I knew better. I just didn't know who or what. But I also knew that some of the well-known drug kingpins on Guam worked at where? The Port Authority of Guam. So it is something to be concerned about, and it sends out the wrong, my views, it's not something I'd make the decision to do, because I think it sends out the wrong message when we are already facing these challenges and these problems, that that's not the place to do it, especially when the general manager does not have the sole authority to change the regulations or amend the regulations at will. It's very specific what those protections, there is reason why they're in place. And the example that it says, especially when you have in social media, videos circulating around, in the port yard, having beer cans in the refrigerator. Just doesn't set out the right message, especially to the employees. So while some may have a different view, in this current capacity, I'm sitting here in an elected capacity, I don't think most of our people find that the way to go, that that's acceptable, especially when the regulations prohibit it. So I'm just letting you know, these are things you need to be mindful to look out for, because there are regulations in place for a reason, and they need to be followed. Doesn't mean you can't have a celebration. You just don't have those type of celebrations in the port yard that should be a restricted area, especially at a time, like I said. When have we ever seen drugs so cheap? What does that tell us? That means it's all over. It's easy to access. And as far as I'm concerned, it's coming in. So I'm just relaying that so that you be mindful of it. I think you have to put that extra eye and not just circulate among your circle of your board members, but really look into it and step back. Because at the end of the day, we want to ensure you're being accountable to the people you're supposed to, because you don't work for the Port Authority of Guam, you don't work for the general manager. I mean, you work for the people for the time that you're there. Certainly, it's a volunteer capacity. But I'm just letting you know, you need to be aware of it, because I would like to be courteous and cordial, but there are reasons why 3 other board members were not confirmed by this body. And so I certainly will give you the benefit of the doubt and the opportunity. I would like to see what you're going to do. I hope you can bring an extra edge to the board that we have not seen. And have that extra eye and actually hold your management team accountable, because they need to be accountable. There's just too much. I've just seen it too much, and it saddens me. I mean, there's a reason I ran for office again, unfortunately, because I've just seen too much of it, and I just can't stomach it. I just don't, this is not okay. These assets belong to our people, and they're only being managed by you in a policy direction for an interim. You're simply the caretaker for the moment. And I just want to ensure that you're being responsible with that. So I bring that up because there's a need for it. I'm not sending this warning just because, oh, I don't like the general manager. That's irrelevant. What it has to do with ensuring that the port is properly managed, because it is the asset of the people, and it should not be used or abused for selfish interests, political or otherwise. So with that, I wish you well in your nomination. I appreciate you for stepping forward, because I know there are many others that were approached that did not want to take this position, did not want to come before this legislature and be questioned with regards to their appointment, and so be it. But I appreciate you stepping forward. I'm just asking you, don't let things come and influence your judgment. I think you need to look at it. You're coming in with a clean eye, and we need that.
Thank you, Senator Brown.
Thank you very much, Ms. Avales.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Brown. Senator San Augustine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, Faye, thank you for accepting the nomination. That's number one.
Thank you, Senator.
Number two, you know, when I look at nominees, I look at their packet. I don't look at anything else. And mentioned earlier, doesn't care if he likes the general manager. Like, I like the general manager, I like the board member, they're all my family, so there's no problem there. But I look at your packet, I look at your credential. I don't expect you just to do what you're trained in. I look at your specialized training. Gosh, you should be at OFB. That's okay. You're going for the port. I look at all your where you've been. I'm not concerned about you're going to watch what the port does, because you should have been doing that at the airport. You should have been doing that at the regional medical center. You should have been doing it at Guam. Everything you've been doing on other boards, I know you expect you to do what you need to do at the port. I expect you to perform. And I've known you since I was in the Board of Education, and you were in the charter school. And then we're together in the Guam Sunshine Lions Club, so we're good. You got my support.
Thank you.
But you know, I just expect you to do what you need to do, just like I expect my family here, Conchita Taitano, to do what she needs to do. Board members, do what you're supposed to do. And if you got the Kool-Aid, then drink it, but por favor, do your job. You can drink whatever you want to drink, wherever you're at, but do your job. If you do your job, the taste of the Kool-Aid is going to be just as good, if you know what you're drinking. But I'm not worried about you, Faye. And in the reference to alcohol, if there's no alcohol allowed, then no alcohol. I'm a former police officer. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, and we move on. And with that, Madam Chair, I support Ms. Faye Avales for the nomination for the port. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator San Augustine.
Senator San Augustine. And thank you, Ms. Avales, for your testimony today, and to Port General Manager Senator Respicio and Board Member Taitano. Thank you very much for being here for your testimony. And Mrs. Avales, you have my support as well. I've known you for many years, just as all of these other senators, and I see your background and your willingness to serve once again in this capacity. So we look forward to moving your nomination forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. We will now take a brief recess and move to the next appointment. We are in recess.
The Coast Guard responded to Tello.
This public hearing by the Committee on Maritime and Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens is back from recess. Again, today is Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. The time now is 1:57 p.m. For the record, and in accordance with the Open Government Law, notices for this hearing were sent on February 6th and again on February 9th. This hearing was also noticed on the Guam Legislature's website and the Guam Public Notice website. Thank you to my colleagues for joining me, committee members Senator San Agustin and Senator Taitagui and Senator Brown as well, Sidus Masi. We will now hear testimony on the appointment of Michelle Merfalen to serve as a youth member of the Guam Visitors Bureau. If there's anyone here who has written testimony, they can provide our staff with testimony to make copies. We ask that your testimony be confined to the nature of the agenda, which again is the appointment of Michelle A. Merfalen to serve as youth member of the Guam Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. The mission of the Guam Visitors Bureau is to efficiently and effectively promote and develop Guam as a safe and satisfying destination for our visitors, and to derive maximum benefits for the people of Guam. Guam's tourism industry is considered to be the top economic contributor to Guam's economy. GVB is a critical bridge linking the government, the tourism industry, visitors, and the local community, and aims to contribute successfully to good quality of life for residents through tourism. The Board of Directors is responsible for promoting visitor satisfaction, facilitating the orderly growth and maintenance of the visitor industry, and encouraging and supporting local activities, programs, and development to enhance Guam as an attractive tourist destination. Okay, to give oral testimony today, we have the appointee, Michelle Merfalen, and we also received written testimony in support of the appointment of Ms. Merfalen from Dr. Joan C.E. Diego, Assistant Professor, Human Resource Management, School of Business and Public Administration at the University of Guam, from Dr. Fred Schuman, Professor, Global Resources Management, School of Business and Public Administration at the University of Guam, from Ms. Sierra Kelly Mateo Avelena, from Ms. Kimi A. Okada, from Ms. Autumn Yatar, and our committee will continue to receive testimony during the open period after this hearing. We will now hear from the appointee, Ms. Michelle Mingie A. Merfalen. You are recognized.
Thank you, and Hafade, Senator Shelton, committee members, and guests for allowing me to speak before you today. My name is Michelle Mingie Merfalen, and I'm a recent graduate of the University of Guam with a business administration bachelor's degree. Currently, I'm self-employed as a financial service representative in the financial services industry. I also help manage a financial services office here in Hagåtña and work as a research assistant. In all honesty, when I received the call regarding the nomination, I was shocked. I just remember thinking to myself, why did so-and-so recommend me for this position when there are probably others more skilled, knowledgeable, and experienced than I am? However, after that shock dissipated, I was left feeling honored and acknowledged as someone deserving to be appointed to this position, as it involves great responsibility and commitment to our island. In relation to the position itself, my interest in tourism stems from the love for Guam, as well as the melting pot of culture and heritage that's found within it. Growing up surrounded by scenic landscapes, engaging in cultural activities, and seeing unique attractions, I developed a genuine appreciation for the diverse experiences our island has to offer. As I reflected on these experiences, I was reminded of the power tourism has to not only showcase Guam's beauty, but also provide a gateway for others to develop the same love and appreciation I'm sure we all have for our island and culture. In my opinion, the unique aspects of Guam go beyond what makes the island a travel-worthy destination. There are stories waiting to be shared, cultural treasures waiting to be discovered, and experiences waiting to be cherished. Understanding that showing Guam as a viable visitor's destination is just one piece of the tourism puzzle, which is why I believe and I am confident that my multicultural background, academic career, extracurricular activities, and experience in both the financial services and marketing industries will complement the holistic approach needed to address the economic, environmental, and social aspects of tourism and the goals of GVB. I'm truly grateful for my support system behind me and those who took the time to send written testimonies to you all. as their pride and encouragement strengthens my resolve and commitment to this role. If my appointment is confirmed, I look forward to lending my abilities to the Guam Visitors Bureau, its stakeholders, our local community, as well as visiting markets. Knowing that this position also comes with the responsibility of representing the youth, I'll strive to bring a new and innovative perspective to the table that provide valuable insights, diversify thoughts, and lead to comprehensive decision-making. I'm eager to work collaboratively with the Guam Visitors Bureau and our island's youth to achieve institutional goals, and I'm excited about the possibility of contributing to the recovery and sustainable growth of our tourism sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for your testimony. We'll start with questions from the panel. Senator Tydegui.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Are you nervous?
A little bit, but I'm all right.
Well, that testimony that you gave us, it didn't sound like it. It sounded like you're very sure of yourself. So I truly appreciate this testimony. It's clear, I can see that, you're raring to go, ready to get excited about working. I was the former Deputy General Manager of the Guam Visitors Bureau, and I know what it entails, and a lot of it has to do with, ensuring that it's not just the big guys, that get all the piece of the pie. It's also the smaller businesses, like you, an entrepreneur on your own. You're a small company right now, and those tend to be left out quite a bit. Also, it tends to be left out are the other villages, like in the south. Guam that's the whole island that people need to see, not just Tumon. So I hope you put that in perspective. Destination management was one of my favorite things in the Guam Visitors Bureau, and that was, if we don't have a beautiful island, nobody's going to want to come and see it. So I think destination, I hope, is at your forefront, as well as how to put security cameras up to protect the safety and welfare. Not just our, tourism. You go down to Tumon, you see a lot of local people at around 5:30, 6 o'clock, walking up and down. It's just the perfect place to go. So all around, I wish you the very best. Looking forward to the things that you're going to do. And my door is always open. If you ever need any assistance or anything I can do for you, or just want to shoot some stuff by me, I'll be happy to listen. So thank you for serving. And again, I greatly appreciate you wanting to do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tydegui. Senator Brown.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and certainly welcome to you, Ms. Merfalen. I have to tell you, I was very pleased with your testimony. Humility is always a good thing. It'll take you far in life. It's good to be confident with who and what you are and your capabilities, but certainly when you're given an opportunity, you have to ask yourself, like, gee, why me? And I don't know you personally, but certainly just in this brief time, I'm very pleased with what I see. I think you do well. I think you've got the foundation. You're a graduate of Notre Dame High School. I went to Notre Dame and graduated, I won't tell you how many years ago. Sort of celebrating our 40th anniversary this year, but how exciting to be at this beginning of your career. There's so much you're going to learn on the board, and a lot of people you're going to meet and get to know, and who are going to get to know you, that I think will be a tremendous asset to you in the future. I was given an opportunity at a very young age by one of our former governors to take on responsibilities I never thought I could do when I was that young. And it has benefited me all my life. And so I don't doubt that this experience for you serving on the board, and certainly give you a greater insight to the issues, the benefits, and the challenges that are facing our visitor industry. Who knows, you might grow and expand in that area down the road. So I wish you well. It's nice to see, very, very refreshing to see a young person as capable as you so early on in the game, willing to step forward and participate and serve your time and contribute back to your community. I wish we had more young people to do that. Taking off the table is easy. Putting on the table requires a little more effort, but that effort is certainly going to be much appreciated, and you have much to gain and so many more years ahead of you to continue to grow and learn. So I wish you well on this nomination to the GVB board. I'm sure it's a new and exciting chapter for you, and we certainly look forward to hearing a future success for you. With that, Madam Chair, thank you. I don't have any questions. I appreciate very much how she delivered her presentation.
Thank you, Senator Brown. Senator San Augustine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Merfalen, and exactly what my colleague mentioned, on spot, your presentation. And I noticed in your background, gosh, you're a Merit Scholar recipient, Region Scholar, President's List.
Yes.
You've been smoking. You've been doing good, girl. You did great, Ms. Merfalen. When I say you've been smoking, I'm not referring to smoking cigarette, okay? I do that quite well on my own, or anything else. But you know, you've done great for yourself. You're a financial service agent, so young. But you know what? You've got my support. And when you mention it's about the youth, remember you're at the University of Guam? The youth is how old? From 30 and below, right? Or you can say 40 and below. You can determine the age group. Not for this business, what, it's for younger? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, just say whatever you need to say on the board, because you can always reach out to my office. You know who your connection is to my office, okay? When GVB needs money, and you communicate it, because I handle the budget, I'll tell the GVB director, talk to your youth representative so we can help you. And you know, it's taking care of the youth. Everybody talks about everything. You know, my other colleagues, it's all about the business. No. And the younger folks are the ones going to take over. Everybody your age and your classmates, you guys are the ones going to take over. We need you to be prepared for that. And if you prepare GVB, we're going to have fun. And you just enjoy yourself. And you've got my full support. All right? Thank you, Ms. Merfalen.
Thank you very much, Senator San Augustine. And yes, thank you, Ms. Merfalen, for your testimony today, and to your friends and all those who gave their testimony in support of your appointment. I'm impressed by your packet. I see you graduated from the University of Guam in under 4 years, just 3 years, as a Merit Scholar, Dean's List, President's List, Regent Scholar, all of it. And the people who gave their testimony for you from the University of Guam are people that we can trust and count on, especially in the tourism industry. So we look forward to what you will bring as the youth member to represent your peers on the board. And if there's any help that you need from the Committee on Tourism, our door is always open as well. Congratulations to you, and of course to your parents and all your family who are here in support. And with that, this public hearing, the appointment of Michelle Mingie Merfalen has been duly heard, and we will continue to receive any testimonies to our office for both Michelle and for Mrs. Avales for the next several days at Office of Senator Shelton at guamlegislature.org or delivered here to the Congress building. Sutuas Masi, the time now is 2:10 p.m. and we are adjourned.